And you have a beautiful Mediterranean style quinoa tabbouleh that is just healthy.
Persian food has lots of vegetables, and we use some spices like turmeric. They're full of antioxidants.
Everyone loves a Caesar salad, right? And the vegan version is just as creamy, and it's just as salty, and it's just as cheesy.
From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Marissa Lennox.
Welcome to the Zoomer. One of the most common misconceptions of eating a healthy diet is it's restricted to bland, tasteless foods. But across the world, people enjoy delicious dishes without compromising their health. In fact, there's a wide diversity of cultural foods, all with distinct tastes, ingredients, and health benefits. You just have to choose the right dishes. On today's show, chefs from different cuisines join me to cook some authentic and nutrient-rich meals. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
Turns out, the secret to living longer isn't so secret at all. Leafy greens are some of the healthiest foods on the planet. People who ate at least one serving a day decreased their risk of all types of cancer by 8%. Olive oil is a staple in the Mediterranean diet. Its potent antioxidants play a key role in preventing the onset and progression of Alzheimer's disease. Beans are nutrition powerhouses, high in protein, fiber, and potassium. They've been found to reduce the risk of chronic diseases, including cancer and diabetes. Hot peppers are anti-inflammatory and will rev up your metabolism. People who ate spicy foods 3 to 5 days a week had a 15% lower risk of death.
Shauna, let me start with you. When we think about chronic diseases, cancer, diabetes, heart disorders, respiratory illnesses, they are often treated as individual conditions, but they do have one thing in common, and that is inflammation. And what we know about certain types of foods is they can actually reduce inflammation. So I wanted to start with you to talk about some of the different anti-inflammatory foods that we should be incorporating into our diet.
Yes. So when I think about a really healthy diet, I actually think of the Mediterranean diet, which includes olive oil, fatty fish, nuts, seeds. So in terms of reducing inflammation, you want to add whole foods into your diet. So for instance, olive oil is a biggie, fatty fish. If you eat vegetarian, there are also some nuts and seeds that are really healthy for you. I usually say walnuts is the number one that I would choose, and then almonds and Brazil nuts and cashews. So nuts and seeds are really, really healthy, as well as whole grains. So for instance, quinoa, which is a pseudo grain, it's actually a seed of a spinach plant. That's something that you want to include into your diet. Things like barley, things like teff, all of those whole grains are really important to reduce your risk of things like, as you mentioned, heart disease, diabetes, different types of cancer. And when we get into cancer, I actually consult with a cancer center here in Toronto called Wellspring. It's a cancer support network, and I recipe develop for them. And when I look at recipes and what we should be choosing with recipes, I try to focus on herbs and spices. So for instance, parsley, turmeric, cinnamon, very, very healthy for us.
Chef Javed, when we think about eating healthy, Shauna mentioned all these various ingredients, spices. I mean, those are some of the staples you may find in Persian food. And so when we think about eating healthy, so often we associate it with eating bland, boring foods, but it doesn't have to be the case. Tell me about Persian food, why it's so healthy. What are some of the staples that are incorporated into that diet?
Yeah, Persian food has lots of herbs and vegetables. And we use some spices like turmeric, curry powder, cinnamon, something else. They are full of antioxidants. Today I want to make some very famous stew. It names kıyme bademcan.
And we will do that a little bit later in the show as well. But just making our way around the table, Chef Margie, Italian food, I think, is often associated with being very heavy and with using a lot of carbohydrates. But similarly, eating Italian does not have to come at the expense of your health, does it not?
No, absolutely not. And part of the joy of building the vegan menu for the Il Fornello restaurants was how much fun and how easy, as long as you're willing to innovate and use your imagination, it is to veganize a lot of the dishes that are the most popular in the Italian restaurants Il Fornello. So, you know, the salad that you're going to be seeing made today, and I think you may be making along with the chefs there at the restaurant, was designed to, you know, not replace the traditional Caesar salad, but it was designed to showcase plants at their most delicious and nutritious, and also you know, kind of shamelessly maybe elbow out that heavier Caesar salad, and it turned out it worked. I think it's the top seller at Il Fornello, top salad, and you're going to be making that today as well. So no compromise at all when you veganize Italian food.
And Chef Tashi, you work with Tibetan food, and one of the staples of Tibetan food is barley, and that is nutrient rich, has so many benefits. Talk to me a little bit about Tibetan food. What are the key staples in the Tibetan diet, and why it's so healthy for you, and why we should all be trying it?
Right. Thank you very much for having us. It was such an honor to be with everybody here today. Tsamba is our staple food of Tibetans. Tsamba is a roasted barley. We actually made Momo. Momo, you know how every nationality has some sort of a dumpling or a pierogi of some sort. A Momo is the actual Tibetan version of that dumpling. It's called a Momo. For us, our food really starts from where it comes from. So when people say, when you taste the food, oh yeah, it's made from love. So the base of actually all of our food has to come from that source or that foundation. And then everything else that comes after that is just a byproduct of it. So we're just evolving kind of thing. Just like our menu did when we came from India, Nepal, and now to Canada, we actually have vegetables from all three of those countries or those nations incorporated into our dishes and momos now.
Now, I would be remiss to not mention the elephant in the room, if you will, which is COVID-19. You all work at different restaurants. It's been a very difficult year for you. So, Shauna, why don't I start with you? I mean, how have you had to adapt and change your restaurant to deal with the restrictions that were put in place because of the pandemic?
We've had to really, pivot to take all of our menu items and improve them for takeout and delivery, which for some things like pasta and pizza wasn't too difficult, but it's been a challenge for sure. There's nothing more that we enjoy than welcoming people into our restaurant to have a nice meal together, to come out and celebrate, and to be together in groups and families and on a date. And it's we haven't seen anyone for a while, so we're looking forward to things getting back to a little bit more normal. And we're really happy to be opening patios tomorrow, so that'll be exciting for us. And yeah, it's been an interesting year. I guess that's all I can say.
All right. Well, we've been thinking about you guys. We need to take a short break. There's more when we return.
The diet portion of the people who live in the Mediterranean, they focus on whole foods like fish and whole grains and lots of different fruits and vegetables.
Welcome back. The Mediterranean diet is regarded as one of the healthiest in the world because of its mix of whole grains, fruits, vegetables, lean meats, and unsaturated fats, which together reduce the risks of everything from heart disease to breast cancer. Shauna Lindzon joins me now to break down what makes this diet so beneficial and delicious. Hey, Shauna.
Hey, how are you, Marissa?
I'm good. I love the Mediterranean diet, and every time I read anything about healthy meals, it usually all goes back to the Mediterranean diet. There's something about it that makes it so popular and people love it. So I know you're gonna be cooking something for us today, but maybe just a brief overview. What is it about the Mediterranean diet that is so good for you?
So if you've actually seen the pyramid for the Mediterranean diet, the smallest, the tip of the pyramid would be things like meat and more of the saturated fats. And then when you flow down the pyramid, there's a bounty of fruits and vegetables. There's actually even exercise in there, drinking red wine in moderation. So it's all encompassing. But when we specifically look at the diet portion of the people who live in the Mediterranean, they focus on whole foods. Mm-hmm. So they don't have a lot of processed foods or ultra processed foods like we do here in North America. So what you want to do if you want to eat more along the lines of the Mediterranean diet is you want to choose lean foods like let's say fish and whole grains and lots of different fruits and vegetables. If you can, increase your intake of legumes and lentils. That's things like chickpeas and kidney beans and lentils, like red lentils, green lentils, very healthy to keep our blood sugar levels under control, as well as our arteries.
All right, so let's get cooking. What are we cooking today?
So today we're actually making a quinoa tabbouleh. So with tabbouleh, it is full of healthy ingredients. So what I've done is I have cooked up some quinoa. Quinoa is actually called a pseudo grain. It's derived from the seed of a spinach plant, but we think of it more as a grain. Mm-hmm. And it does have some protein. It's not super high in protein, but it has protein. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start by using some quinoa. I like to cook my quinoa. This is half a cup of quinoa, cooked in 3/4 of a cup of water. Some people like to do a 1-to-2 ratio of quinoa and water. I like to do a little less because I like a drier quinoa, not a mushy quinoa. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to add that into my bowl. We are going to start making the salad. Okay, so I've got my quinoa in the bowl. And the next thing we're going to add are lots of different vegetables. So here I have a cucumber. Some recipes for a tabbouleh would say to take off the peel. I don't do that. I'm a culinary dietitian, and I always say the more fiber, the better. So I don't peel it. I keep the peel on. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to cut in some cucumber. If your cucumber has a lot of seeds, it's a good idea to take your knife along the seeds. This one isn't too bad. Take the seeds out because the seeds are very watery, and you don't want your end result to be too watery. So I'm just going to dice up the cucumber or chop it, a medium chop. If you want to dice it really small, you can. It's all about preference. And then I'm going to add that with the quinoa into the salad. So I've got some healthy cucumber. The more color, the better. People often think when we talk about fruits and vegetables, the first thing that comes into my mind is, oh, they're high in vitamin C, they're high in fiber. But there's one other thing that fruits and vegetables have that shines. Those are phytochemicals. And for instance, the cucumber has the green component. A blueberry, for instance, has something called anthocyanins. You don't have to remember that word, but you just have to remember it's healthy for you.
It's good for you. Yeah.
It's good for you. So when we talk about tomatoes, the phytochemical in tomato is called lycopene. So every single fruit and vegetable has a different superstar. Some people like to call them superfoods. I avoid that term because you don't want to feel guilty if you're not eating certain fruits and vegetables. I just say eat what you like and try to get as much color in. So here you can see we've got the green, we've got the red, the tomatoes are now going in, and I'm just cutting them in half. I like to keep the seeds. Some recipes will say de-seed the tomato because they are bitter, but guess what? That bitter compound is actually the health compound. So in citrus, for instance, the peel, let's say here we have our lemon, or if we have a grapefruit, the peel has so many good chemical properties that you want to use the whole fruit. And that actually, and that goes, aligns with the concept of eating whole foods. All right, so our tomatoes in beautiful tomatoes. Look at that. It's already looking really pretty.
It's funny what you say about a lemon because in North America, you don't think to eat the skin. But I remember being in Italy and my the tour guide at the time gave me a lemon and told me to eat the whole thing.
Really?
Yes.
Like an apple to chomp down on it?
Well, he sliced it up and you were meant to eat the entire slice.
And we often think of, let's say, eating a lemon as, we think of it as very sour, but there's a chemical compound called terpenes in the lemon that gives it that beautiful aroma. And if you're trying to reduce your salt intake, lemon is key. It adds so much flavor that you can actually reduce the salt you add in cooking and add citrus. Citrus is a really important flavor to cook with. So I'm talking lime juice, lemon juice, grapefruit juice, orange juice. There's a plethora of different chemicals and flavors that really bump up the flavor of your final product.
So are we using lemon in this dish?
Yes, in the dressing.
There we go.
So I'm going to add the last vegetable, which is our allium vegetable. And every recipe should have onion or garlic or something from that family, shallot, leek. This recipe I created with green onion. So green onion is a little milder, and some people that have digestive issues can tolerate green onion better than they can tolerate a white onion, for instance. So I like to use the whole onion. If you get stomach aches from onion, just focus on using the green and not the white. So I just put in some onion there. And then before we get to the dressing is the actual bulk of the salad, and that is fresh parsley. Fresh parsley actually has compounds in it that can kill off cancer cells. Like this is in a lab, when they take the compound from the parsley, they put it into a petri dish, it helps the cancer cells actually die. So that's in the lab. We're not sure how it happens in humans, but it's got some promise. So as I mentioned in the intro, you don't want to only use parsley as a garnish. You want to use it as an ingredient. So my little trick for parsley to keep it really crunchy and crispy is to wash it and salad spin it dry so it's really crispy. You can hear as my knife goes through. And when you're cutting parsley, you want to cut from the top, and you want to try not to bruise your herbs. So do you see how I'm gently just twisting it and cutting it from the top? And the key is the herbs should be really dry. So we're just gonna chop this up, and you want a really sharp knife. I'm just using a Japanese ceramic knife, which is quite sharp. Okay, so after the parsley goes in, so you can chop this as fine as you want. I like it a little bigger. I don't like it too fine. We're just going to put the parsley in, and then we're going to move on to the next herb. So I'm just going to put the parsley in, and we're going to move on to fresh mint. So if you think about it, mint's used in toothpaste. Mint's is used to freshen your breath. So I'm just going to chop in some fresh mint. And after I get that mint chopped up, we're going to make a nice vinaigrette. So with the vinaigrette, we're just going to take a full lemon, and we're going to slice up the lemon. And with the lemon, I want a whole lemon in here. So to make the dressing, I'm just going to squeeze a whole lemon, which is about 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And then we're going to take our heart-healthy olive oil. So I've got about 1/4 cup of lemon. We're going to put about 3 tablespoons of olive oil in there. We're going to put some salt, about 3/4 teaspoon of salt, some pepper, and to give it a little je ne sais quoi, some cinnamon. So we're adding a lot of different flavor there. And then we're actually just going to whisk this up, pour it on our salad, mix it up, and you have a beautiful Mediterranean style quinoa tabbouleh that is just healthy. If you want to add a little bit of protein to this, like chickpeas or some sunflower seeds, you've got yourself a great side dish.
It looks fantastic. I wish you were here and I could have some of it. This has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, don't go away. A hearty and healthy Persian stew that is sure to get your mouth watering is next.
It's our most selling dish.
Mmm. Excellent, you guys. Welcome back. When it comes to authentic Persian food, Herby Restaurant's on point thanks to Chef Javed, who's been cooking up a storm since the age of 9. Chef Javed's here to share the recipe for an authentic Persian stew. Chef, we've chopped, sliced, diced just to make sure we can get to this healthy and delicious dish. Now, before we get started, I have to ask you, what got you to cooking at such a young age?
I learned from my grandma and my mom, because we've been very big family, 7 children and my parents. And my mom always tried to teach us cooking. And from childhood, I loved the cooking. And I started when I was 9, and I was cooking for my parents.
Learning from your parents and grandparents, they're the best kinds of teachers. All right, so this looks a little bit complicated, but hopefully you're gonna make it easy for me. So why don't we get started? Where do I begin? And what are we cooking today?
It names Kıyme Bademcan. And first we have to chop the onion.
Got it.
And we have to fry it.
All right.
Then we add
Start with the
sunflower oil.
sunflower oil.
Okay.
Yeah, generous amount.
Okay.
You have the diced onion. You put that in.
Okay.
And you add the meat, whatever meat you have. If you
Okay,
have
so this
beef,
is some beef. Yep.
put that in.
Starting to smell good in here.
Reduce the heat.
Then we add turmeric.
Okay.
1 teaspoon turmeric. Yeah, less than teaspoon
Black
black
pepper.
pepper. Paprika. Curry powder.
Got it.
And we mix it.
Mix it.
Mix. And then after it's cooked,
After the beef turns a little bit more brown,
Yeah.
put the lid on.
and we wait to cook the meat.
Okay.
Yeah, and this side, I'm doing frying the eggplant. I did the eggplant like this.
In a separate pot or pan, put the sunflower oil again.
Okay.
Separate. Yeah.
And because the eggplant absorb lots of oil, there is a point. First, I cut it and I boiled a little bit the eggplant.
Yep.
Then I put in the pan. It doesn't absorb too much oil.
Yeah, so you're basically frying the eggplants. That cut is perfect.
Okay.
Okay, just we stay to cook the meat.
How's the meat looking?
It's browning. It's actually looking great.
Okay.
Okay, now we can add the yellow split beans.
Got
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, put that in. That's it.
Again, mix it. Just a few minutes.
Okay, so while that's cooking, check on my eggplants.
Yes. You want to make sure that all sides are same shade of brown by the time it's cooked.
Now the eggplants are ready. And I add tomato paste first. 4 people this, and I add
Sugar-free tomato paste, about 2 tablespoons.
then I add hot water, not cold water. Yeah.
How much water should I pour in?
1.5 cups. But yeah, your portion is a bit smaller than ours, so yeah, about a half cup.
Add some lemon juice
Okay.
and we have to wait to cook everything. And then before we want to serve it, we add cinnamon. Cinnamon shouldn't get too much heat. We add saffron. Saffron has lots of antioxidants and it's improved the mood.
If it's good for you, it's worth it. See, this is the thing. People, I think, get dissuaded about making Persian meals because of all of these different spices, but it looks like from curry to turmeric, saffron, these are some staples that you should have in your house at all times if you're interested in making these meals. Is that right?
Exactly. Like, it's good to have all these at home because you can use that for basically any meal, like even for non-Persian food.
Mm-hmm.
You have rice, right?
We have rice. It's cooked.
Okay, great. So you can either put the stew on top of the rice or on the side separately. Put a little bit of the stew.
Here's the final product. Can we see your finished product?
Some baby grapes on it. It's, this one.
It's salty and sour grape.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a try, all right? This is my first time eating this dish. Mmm. Excellent, you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's our most selling dish.
Is it? Yeah, your most popular? Well, I can see why. So thank you for teaching us how to cook it. We'll put the recipe up on our website for all of you at home watching. Thank you very much to Chef Javed and his sous chef, if you will.
You're welcome.
Take care, you guys. There's more after the break. Don't go away.
Now you've got any combination of greens that you like. I mean, classically it would be romaine. Toss as you go, and then you can finish it with a little bit of the vegan Parmesan.
Welcome back. When it comes to Italian cuisine, many people think rich and heavy sauces and pastas, but Italian food can be very healthy and beneficial to your overall diet. Chef Margie joins me now from Il Fornello, along with chefs Nicole and Claudia, who are preparing a vegan Caesar salad. Chef, you don't often think vegan Italian, but you've embraced the vegan diet.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone loves a Caesar salad, right? It's a classic, it's a standard. And the vegan version is just as creamy and it's just as salty and it's just as cheesy. And I guess when we go through the ingredients, I can explain why.
And a little bit healthier, perhaps, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit healthier, just by nature of being just plant-based. It's whole foods. It doesn't have the animal fats that the cheese in a classic Caesar salad would have.
You probably wouldn't even notice the difference. So let's get cooking. Tell us about this salad, what's in it in terms of ingredients.
Okay, so they've got their lettuce in a bowl, which you do too. Yep. And Marissa, I think your dressing's already blended, right?
It's not blended, but it's mostly put together. I have a couple ingredients left that I have to add into it. But why don't you walk us through even how to mix together these very ingredients?
For sure. All of the ingredients go into a blender. Regardless of what blender you have, it's going to work. You want to put it all in there and blend it up until it's perfectly smooth.
So for the list of ingredients, a half cup of raw cashews that have been soaked and drained, 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1 tablespoon of sea salt, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 avocado, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of caper, a half cup of lemon juice, approximately 2 lemons, 3/4 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of freshly ground pepper, and a 1/4 cup of vegan Parmesan.
Perfect. So we've put that together right here, and I'm about to blend it, and we'll put it all together. Let me do this. Is that good? Looks smooth.
So now you've got any combination of greens that you like. I mean, classically it would be romaine, and you'd want to hand tear the lettuce. And then slowly add your dressing and toss as you go, totally personal depending on how much dressing you want on that salad. And then you can finish it with a little bit of the vegan Parmesan, which is a combination of hemp seeds, cashews, nutritional yeast, sea salt, and garlic powder. And so the vegan Parmesan adds that hit. It's just salty and really reminiscent of actual Parmesan cheese. So you can finish the salad with the Parmesan, maybe a slice of lemon.
This smells fantastic.
Good.
Throw a couple cashews on top.
Yep. Maybe a slice of lemon.
This looks fantastic. Okay, how's that look, huh? I just need a fork. I'm gonna try it.
Looks perfect.
It's difficult to eat salad on camera. It's fantastic. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's amazing. All right, Chef Margie, Chef Nicole, Chef Claudia, ladies, thank you for joining us.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having us.
All right, when we come back, a culinary tour of Tibet through the eyes of Chef Tashi. Stay tuned.
So for the momos, the main thing is the sauce on the side. So at the Momo Hut, we serve 3 different sauce.
Welcome back. Tibetan cuisine is so unique, not only because it's rich in cultural diversity, but it's enjoyed by people around the world. Chef Tashi from Momo Hut and Gardens joins me now. First of all, Tashi, we're going to be cooking momos today. What is a momo?
Every nationality has some sort of a dumpling or a pierogi of some sort. So the momos is actually the Tibetan version of that. Now through time, our momo has evolved quite a bit, and we're very happy to be able to be part of that evolving.
I'm Ukrainian, so I'm a little bit familiar because I love pierogies, and typically what we put in them are cheese and potatoes, sometimes a little bit of meat. So what do you put in your momo?
Traditionally, it first started off with like yak meat, buffalo meat, beef, chicken, the usual pork. Now we went a little bit further. We started making a shrimp momo. Currently, we have over 11 different vegetable momo variations. And it all started off with the spinach momo. The spinach and the mix of spinach, feta cheese, and vermicelli noodles.
Very neat. Okay, so what are we making today?
Today, we have a variety of all of our vegetable momos. We've already kind of like pre-made them already. And then, so this is what the momos kind of shape and looks like. Now there's 8 different shapes. Now each we familiarize or distinguish which momos are by the shapes. So this particular shape that you see, we actually call it a tsitsi momo. And then those momos are just all vegetables. This is one that's already kind of made.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do one. Now the ingredients that we're using for this particular one is a tsamba. Tsamba is a staple food of the Tibetans, high on the mountain ranges. It's a roasted barley. Roasted barley is rich in fiber. It supports the immune system, vitamin A, vitamin C, zinc. So a lot of health benefits on that one. And then this particular one here, we mixed it with a little bit of non-dairy butter and a little bit of sugar to give it a little bit of a flavor. So she's making one, and so you can just show. The technique of it takes a little bit to get used to. I don't know if you can see it.
I can see you folding it there. Is there a special way to fold it?
Yeah, there is. That is the technique of the using of the different folds. So this fold one, she's doing for the vegetable.
Yep.
Right. And then the one we can do one different shape that we use for the beef momo.
And do you typically do different shapes? Is there a reason you would do a different shape for a beef momo versus a vegetable momo?
Yes, mainly for us to distinguish which is which. Makes it easier for the staff Plus, it just gives it its own unique individual shape. So when people come for beef momos, a beef momo in almost any Tibetan family has one particular shape, which is like a half moon or a crescent shape.
Yeah.
So this is the one, the crescent shaped one. This one here.
Yeah.
Is for our beef momos.
Got it.
Maybe you can make one for the
Yeah.
chicken.
This is different shape. Another one.
So the round one, we'll use this one as our chicken.
Oh, very good. And just to let our audience know, we have some momos steaming right here in this pot. And how long do they typically steam for?
Our veggie momos is about between 7 to 8 minutes. Any meat momos, anywhere between 9 to 10 minutes.
Perfect. So these have been going for probably about 5 or 6 minutes now, so they'll be ready to go pretty soon. So with only 2 minutes left in this segment, let's get plating.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah, sauce.
sausages, right? Okay, so let's visit one. So I made on this one, one of each of the vegetable momos. So as I'm putting on, I'll just let you know what is. So this is our sweet potato. Inside there is a dish. What's inside the sweet potato?
Sweet potato and non-dairy cheese, non-dairy butter. Sorry.
And this one is the cabbage.
This is cabbage, carrot, and leek.
This is our portobello.
Portobello, chives, and sweet potato vermicelli noodle.
And the spinach.
And the spinach with the feta cheese and vermicelli noodle. And mushroom, button mushroom with soybean and paneer in there. So for the momos, the main thing is the sauce on the side. So at the Momo Hut, we serve three different sauce. So like the first one is the base one, which is the yellow color. It made from tomato, onion, and garlic. And you have to heat all three of ingredients for a long time. So this is the base one. It has nothing added in there. And then we have another one, which is herb spicy. So herb spicy is made from hot sauce, mint, and then roasted garlic. And then we have another one which has a little bit, we call it like the dark, little bit dark. It's a roasted pepper, peppercorn, and then roasted garlic. So you add it together. So both the herb and the black one, both are really, really spicy. So it depends on like how spicy you like it. And then you add the base one,
which is just lots of tomatoes,
garlic,
yeah. Roasted, right?
Yeah, and then a little bit of soy sauce, and then you mix it together.
Yeah. And this is what you should look perfect.
You guys have plated it much. It's much more beautiful than mine. Which one should I try? Which is your favorite?
I think you should try the green, the most green one, which is going to be the spinach, feta cheese, and vermicelli noodles.
Okay. It looks a little hot. That's excellent. Very good.
That was wonderful.
Well, thank you so much for giving us this experience and for teaching us how to cook momos. And coming up, final thoughts from our guests. Welcome back. With only a few minutes left, my panelists will leave you with some of their final thoughts. We'll start with Sean.
Final thoughts of the day. Looking forward to seeing everybody in our restaurants soon to enjoy some wood oven baked Neapolitan style pizza, and also to try out our plant forward menu, which is just absolutely amazing. Thanks to Chef Margie and all the staff at Fornello.
And Shauna, if you could leave us with some of your final thoughts.
So I want everyone to choose whole foods, try to minimize processed foods, and try to avoid ultra processed foods, because you'll get way more nutrition and reduce your risk for different diseases.
Thank you, Shauna. Chef Javed.
Persians are famous for hospitality. I invite people to my restaurant, how we are doing hospitality.
Chef Margie.
We love exciting the plant-curious clientele. And don't be shy trying the vegan or vegetarian dishes at any restaurant. They're generally off the hook because when chefs innovate with plants, they're really special. So looking forward to seeing everyone in the restaurants again really soon.
Tashi.
So final thoughts. Now we understand where everybody is in a pandemic. Businesses are closing everywhere. So our final thought is for everybody that's going through this hardship with us, we're in all of this together, is just to stay positive, stay proactive. And we have a philosophy at Momo Hut and actually at home is giving is receiving. So even though we are in a big pandemic and everything is coming down on us, there's always other people out there that are less fortunate than us. That are going to be a lot more hardship than what we're going through right now. And it's those type of people that gives me the inspiration to actually give back. So we've done a lot of food drives for great organizations like the Red Door, the Danforth churches that we've packed lunches for. Even our own community, the Canadian Tibetan Association of Ontario, has really given like thousands and thousands of lunch packs and dinner packs to all our frontline workers, seniors, homeless shelters, and things like that. So I think the final thought is just stay positive. And instead of stocking up on toilet paper, I think everybody should stock up on some patience and some compassion.
I like that. Thank you. That's all the time we have. Thank you, my panelists, so much for being here and for you at home watching. We'll see you soon. For now, it's time to zoom out.